Hi, welcome to Respawn and Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast where three lifelong friends gather to talk about video games. I am Holden. I'm here with Holden DePardo, at Holden DePardo. This is...
Chad Michael Innes, at Chad Mike Innes. Look at you.
Whoa, I finally figured it out, and you are you, and that's why we love you. We have a special side quest to talk about Doom 2016, our BARF game for the month of August of the year 2019.
The year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Chad has not played Doom 2016 before, but he played all the Doom games before, or just Doom 3?
I've played just a little bit of Doom 3 before, and then I've played like 2 minutes of Doom, like a third, like regular-ass Doom. Original-ass Doom on like a TI-89 calculator and like a PC.
That's the preferred way of playing it.
A bunch of places. You know, you play for like 2 minutes like, oh, this is interesting as a fun distraction for a second. And then you're like, just kidding, I don't like it.
I have played Doom 2016 before. I played it when it came out. I had not played Doom before, really. We had like a server going in one of our classes. When we were supposed to be, participating in class, we'd all just play Doom instead because the teacher couldn't see our computers, and it was a lot of fun. Don't remember
What's
what class
Doom
it
instead?
was.
Is Doom instead the sequel? Oh, so funny,
so clever. So I played. Can't remember if that was even Doom 1 or Doom 2, but I didn't like play the campaign. It was just kind of like playing some like a random map you would have. But I did play Doom 2016. I wanted to replay it again before Doom Eternal came out. And my first question to you, Chad, and we'll get into what our listeners and people who've been playing along with us had to say as well. Well, we'll chime into that. But before we get to that, I want to know, are you going to play Doom Eternal after playing Doom 2016?
I will eventually play some or maybe all of Doom Eternal. That is my answer.
So initial impressions then. I don't feel like you're too warm on it then? Question mark?
I wouldn't say not too warm. I just... I got tired of it. I got tired of it by the end. Okay. By about 2/3 of the way through.
I see. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. For what reason? Like, do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, you want me to just go in depth? You want me to just jump in?
Yeah, let's just jump in, yeah.
So I played this game. I've technically played 2 parts of this before. One, I played the demo of it when it came out. And then I've played Doom VFR, which I was led to believe was an entirely different experience. But I was very surprised to find that about the middle third of the game, I was like, I've done all of this before. Why do I know what all of this is? Why do I know where everything is and where all these monsters are going to pop out and what's about to happen? It's like, oh, this is Doom VFR. So I have played a significant part of the middle of this game through Doom VFR. I guess, I don't know. I don't remember whether I finished it or not. But anyway, I played this game all the way through to completion sexually. We climaxed both together at the same time. It was beautiful. But there are a few things that I love about this game. I love the pace of this game. And I think it does something that no other shooter does, that it encourages you to constantly keep moving. It encourages you, if you are low on health, you don't hide. The solution is keep shooting. And especially keep... what's the name of the thing where you jump at the person and rip them to shreds? Glory kill. Keep glory killing, because that's going to get you health.
Oh, it's so fun too.
It kind of reminds me of the Bloodborne mechanic where you have the small window of time when you can actually gain back your health by hitting the enemy. So that's what it reminded me of when I was
that's a
playing
good comparison. I like that. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's a similar concept to kind of keep you in the action.
Exactly. Both of them encourage you to continue fighting rather than running away. The few times that I did like straight up hardcore die hard were times when I wasn't moving that fast. And as soon as I died, I was like, fuck, you know what? I did stop, or I got cornered in here. The level design is really, really great so that you can it is almost impossible to not move. Like, you can't get
you
stuck
literally
anywhere.
have to.
There's a way out of every single spot, every single corridor. There's always somewhere to go. So I never feel like I got trapped, which leads to the encouraging you to keep moving and fighting in the combat. I enjoyed the combat and the variety of the enemy types. I loved that there are a couple of ways that it encouraged me to use every single weapon. Well, not necessarily every single weapon, but a large variety of weapons. Part of it is the scarcity of ammo. And not necessarily scarce, because ammo, I wouldn't say was scarce.
No, because you could just pull out your chainsaw whenever and just get the ammo back.
Yeah, I never used the chainsaw.
Well, not whenever, but like... Oh, you didn't use the chainsaw that often?
I never used it. I used it when you picked it up for the first time, and I never used it after that. In fact,
that's why you're running out of ammo.
Well, I wasn't running out of ammo, but I was out of ammo for a particular weapon, and that required me to switch to another one, and then I would shoot that one for a bit, and I would have inevitably gotten some from an enemy or something like that. So I never was in like a, oh my god, I can't shoot anymore kind of thing. But I was getting low on ammo on guns frequently enough that I was encouraged to flip between them pretty often. In fact, about 80% of the way through the game, I was like, what are those little red bars under my gun? What do those even mean? And so I did a Google. I was like, oh, those are the your chainsaw fuel. I totally forgot that existed. And then I did the same thing with the green bars. Like, what are the green bars under there?
Oh, the big fucking gun.
BFE or BFG ammo. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I was picking up that extra ammo.
It is BFE. Big fucking ears.
No, BFE is bumfuck Egypt. BFG
is that what it means?
It is, yeah. It's like
I've never heard of it
middle
before.
of nowhere.
I've never heard of it before. I was thinking big fucking ears.
No. BFG is big fucking gun. But yes, so I enjoyed that aspect of it as well. I had a ton of fun with the different variety of guns. There were a couple of interface things too, like the combat, the thing up in the top right corner that kind of shows you your combat score or whatever. And there's like 5 things.
Yeah, like it's like a rank basically, 4 or 5 stars.
Exactly. Yeah. I really liked that mechanic for 2 reasons. One, it encouraged you, or it gave you an idea of how far you are through the level. So I know that if I filled up 4 of the 5 of those little circles, it's like, cool, I'm almost done with this chapter. Or if I go through a giant ass fight and it's like half of one circle, it's like, okay, I'm going to be killing a lot of shit in this chapter. The second reason I liked it is because in the later levels, as I started to get tired, I was like, all right, only 2 more circles to fill up before I'm finally done with this chapter.
A great feeling to be having while playing a game. Oh, yep. I'm almost done.
So I enjoyed that mechanic as well. Oh, here's another cool thing. This game has interesting as fuck lore. I read every single data entry for every gun.
Okay. I'm glad you read into that because I'm kind of curious because I'm like, oh, it's my second time playing it. I'm going to look into this lore more often because I didn't pay attention to that at all. I love shooting shit. And I played it the second time. I'm like, man, I just love shooting shit. And I never read anything.
I just love shooting shit. No, it was really interesting. And it gave you, the backstories of like how all these monsters were created. For each monster, it's like how it's created, why, like the science behind how they have weapons in their arms and shit like that. Motivations for all of the characters like Samuel and What's-Her-Butt. And then also the locations.
Motivational speeches for the monsters.
Motivational speeches. The whole origin of the Doom Marine and him conquering
Doom
everything.
Slayer.
The Doom Slayer, that's it. Well, they call him Marine sometimes too. I don't know.
It's officially the Doom Slayer.
You're the Doom Slayer.
So
yeah, it was really interesting, and that makes me like, I kind of wish this was more prominent in the game world a little bit more. Maybe that would have made me more interested to keep going, because what I wasn't as impressed with is that about halfway through the game, I started to get burnt out on the formula of, all right, this world is just a series of 4 or 5 arenas. There might be a blue or a yellow key you have to find to get from arena to arena. But it's 4 or 5 arenas where essentially we're just going to say, all right, arena 1, we're going to throw 6 of this guy and 10 of that guy and see how you do. And in the next arena, all right, this time we're going to do 7 of this guy and 8 of that guy and 1 of these guys. And it just became, every single time it was like, all right, I know it's the same mix of enemies in a different order, in a different quantity. And I know now which guns I use on which enemies and what does best. So I started to get a little tired of that, especially as we get towards the last like 2 or 3 chapters. However, in the last little bit of the game, they introduced bosses. Spoilers! If you haven't played the game, stop listening if you don't care about... if you care about spoilers. Obviously, shut up. You shouldn't be listening to this, you idiot. You know what? Take your cell phone, smash it against your eyeball.
We did not say this is a spoiler.
Everybody knows.
We should have.
Everybody knows. We're talking about it. You should have played it all month with us. You should have given us your impressions, you son of a bitch.
But what if someone doesn't know us and they just found, I want to listen to some Doom content. These guys called Respawn and Fire are talking about Doom. I'm just going to listen to it for the first thing ever. they might.
We don't want you.
With
we
us.
don't want your view or your click.
Good attitude.
We can do without ignorance here. Anyway, the bosses I thought were a really cool shake-up to that formula, because you get to the forget the name of it, the one that's like between Hell and Mars, the demon you have to fight once, and then you get to Hell, and then you have to fight him again immediately after. And then the Guardians, they're not called Guardians. I can never remember the name of anything in here, but I really enjoyed the boss battles.
But you read all the lore.
I did. I read all of it, all the lore. I really enjoyed the boss battles because I feel like they broke up the monotony, but then they also encouraged you. You had to use every single weapon, and you had to figure out like their patterns and how using one weapon at a certain time while they're preparing an attack might stagger them so that you can then shoot the shit out of them and get a bunch of ammo for your other stuff. It was cool.
So to jump into one thing that Alex said, Alex Cozina, at Alex Cozina, also known as Cozy Bear. One of the things he mentioned is that Doomslayer was, in a lot of the reviews, a lot of discussion around Doom 2016 when it was first coming out, Doomslayer was kind of, he has so much more personality than he's ever had before. And he didn't feel like that was the case as much.
I didn't feel that
since
at
you
all.
read all the lore.
Any.
Okay, so I was going to say the lore, is there anything that kind of adds to that?
No, the lore is all just about like about the Doomslayer in particular. It's just those like green prophecy stones you would occasionally come up on, and they would start, and that voice would be like, and then the Doomslayer, blah blah blah, and those things. And it was all just like, and then he came down, struck fear in everyone's hearts, and destroyed all the demons, and then so and so came up, and they locked him in the coffin, and they sealed him, and now he rests in here. So it's that kind of stuff. It's like, it's not anything about his personality. Okay. It's just he's ruthless, and he just has a desire to murder all the demons.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree that he doesn't necessarily have like a personality, but I definitely got like a chuckle when to be like, okay, carefully remove these, tanks or whatever, and he would just stomp on it instead. Things like that I thought were enjoyable, but I think Alex is right that it wasn't like prevalent throughout the game enough to be like, oh, he's got a personality.
Right. Yeah, I would not describe anything that came out of him as a personality.
Yeah, and to be fair, because also Alex brought up this comparison to Metroid Prime.
Can we just read Alex's impressions?
I'm not going to read the entire thing.
You're not?
Do you want me to?
I think we should.
Okay.
Because, I mean, he went to the time to write it, and we asked people, and are going to continue to ask people, to please write in with your impressions. The whole point of BARF is
we'll read the entire thing then.
We're playing this game with Respawn and friends, so we want to know all of your impressions as you play along with us.
This is true.
So thank you, right here. Alex, for writing in.
So Cozy Bear said, I enjoyed my time with Doom 2016 quite a bit. Going into it, I was getting a little fatigued by shooters as a result of having played Borderlands 2 and Titanfall 2, which were our other Barth games the past 2 months, in such close succession to one another over the past few months. However, upon starting it up, I quickly took note of and really came to appreciate just how different and old-school Doom felt compared to the former two titles. And the further and further I got into it, the more this appreciation for old-schoolness increased, particularly when it came to the labyrinthine nature of the game's levels, and the way it encouraged him to constantly keep moving instead of ducking behind cover, which I totally agree with that. I'm going to talk about that too, and you mentioned that too already. All of this made for an experience that, despite its superficial similarities to most of those shooters, really felt different from any others that I played in quite some time, and as a bit of a sidebar, provided me strong Metroid Prime vibes that I didn't realize I'd been missing until now, which in turn made me really excited for what Metroid Prime 4 will look like if/when it arrives. When it's going to arrive. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, Alex. My only real complaint with the game, and I fully acknowledge that this is a weird one, is that I wish Doomslayer was a little more emotive. I'm totally fine with the Slayer not talking, but but I remember back when the game first came out in 2016, everyone seemed to be gushing praises about how much of a personality he had despite never saying a word. Pundits like Jim Sterling sung their praises about how him pushing away Samuel Hayden's message at the beginning of the game managed to convey so much information in so small an action, and gifts of the Slayer, either giving the little Doom guys a little fist bump or doing the Terminator 2 thumbs up when he died in lava, were all over social media. Yet when I played the game myself, I found these sorts of moments to be considerably rarer than the industry had made them out to be, which came to wish that the Slayer pantomimed just a little more. Overall, while Borderlands 2 remains my favorite of the three shooters I've played as part of the Respawn Aimfires BARF, simply because of how much I got to experience alongside others, Doom is a close second, and followed by Titanfall 2 at a close third.
Doom above Titanfall 2.
I think I would probably go. I don't know. Titanfall 2 and Doom are very hard to compare, but Borderlands 3 is 3. And
I just thought the Titanfall 2 campaign was so genius, and we had so much fun playing the multiplayer. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. Let's jump into that.
Here's the other.
Yeah, so
hold
actually,
on.
I'll say that. Yeah, it was Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2, Doom, and then a few empty pegs, and then Borderlands 3 for me. Borderlands 2.
I just want to put one thing out there is that I really loved about Titanfall 2 that I think Doom was lacking, is that first-person platforming is never really fun. And I felt that in Doom 2016. Is that anytime you were trying to jump between small platforms, you had to hover over somewhere or climb up something.
Yeah.
But Titanfall 2, however, made that so fucking fun. So I hope that they find a way to borrow from that. And it looks like they are, because they have in the new one they use swinging from chains and shit like that in Doom Eternal. And so it looks like
I think also what made Titanfall 2 I think better for that is that I fell, I'm basically where I left off, whereas Doom felt like the consequences were too high. If you missed a jump that you would have to go all the way back to an earlier portion, fight the same exact enemies in the same exact order and all that you did before, and then try it again. One thing I did appreciate, however, about the platforming is that there were a lot of secret areas that you kind of stumble on through a second run through that I liked a lot. That was kind of cool. But yeah, ultimately, I feel like that was just there to have a break in the super intense gunplay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, let me read off Dusty's email he sent us as well.
He sent us an email? I didn't even see it.
He did. He said, "Hey y'all, didn't get a chance to play during game nights, but I think
then why
Doom..."
the fuck? Oh, just kidding. He said game nights.
During game nights, but I think Doom TM is a blast. It's great for feeling like a badass in nonstop action. I played exclusively on Switch, and there was a few times where my game slowed way down, but was fine otherwise. Only issues that the main story felt repetitive by the end of it, and the final boss was a bit anticlimactic. Would give it 4 Dwayne Johnsons out of 5.
4 Dwayne Johnsons.
And that's Dustin Earthhill.
Earthhill. Ooh.
Yes, he signed it off, Dustin Earthhill.
That sounds so raw. Like a hippie.
Yeah, so this is my second time playing the game, but I think that we all kind of agree, including myself, that the big highlight of this game is the super, super intense gunplay, and I think that's why it didn't feel too repetitive to me, coming from playing a lot of first-person shooters, is that this just feels so much different. And I think, Cozy Bear nailed it. It has this old-school kind of feel. You're never reloading weapons. You just shoot. That's all you got to do. It's kind of a cool feeling. You just felt like nonstop. There's really nothing in the game that's designed to stop you in any way, outside of those kind of moments of platforming kind of between those really tense combat sequences. But what and it even goes down to the controls where you don't interact with any sort of touchscreen or interface in the game. We have to hit something or something like that, or open a door. You all do it, but just by pushing the right stick. They don't want you to ever let your hands off those sticks.
Interesting, yeah.
Because it's always going. Even when you're doing the melee kills, it's just hitting the stick. So that was really cool. And even when you go to access your weapon wheel, it slows down the game, but not really by that much. So even there, you have to pick your next gun really quickly.
I got real good at that. There were times when killing one of the giant monsters whose bellies are overflowing, and then there'd be a bunch of little imps throwing fireballs, and I'd just be R1 up on the thing. You could for a flash, you see the weapon wheel pop up, and I'm like, nope, switch to shotgun. Bam, 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 bam. Switch to the Gauss cannon. Bam, bam. It was I could switch so quick. I knew where all those guns were.
Yeah, so I basically agree with everything everyone's saying about it. I do want to make a comment, though, on I get why you felt the game was too repetitive. And I feel it's because it's really the same environments almost the whole game. You're basically...
Yeah, there are 3 environments. There's red rocky areas. There's inside of some spaceship areas or space station areas, and then there's I don't know what the fuck else.
Hell.
There's hell.
Yeah. It's hell.
Which are more red rocky areas.
which basically looks like Mars with skulls and stuff everywhere. So I can totally appreciate that, and I kind of feel you on that. I think for me, just the combat was just so good throughout that I was fine with it. But I think that might be why Doom Eternal is going to be better, because it is promising more diverse locations. I think that's going to make the game feel less repetitive. And you're going to go to hell, you're going to go to your traditional like Doom level stuff, but also going to go to heaven. And I'm like, ooh, I really want to see what it's like to fight in heaven. Like, what are you fighting in heaven? That sounds awesome.
I want
to do that.
Destroying St. Peter.
Do you get to fight God? What's that going to be like?
It's going to be God from South
dead?
Park.
There is no God. Yeah, like this got me really pumped for playing Doom Eternals. I think we are the opposite in that way, where I'm like, yeah, it was repetitive, but I know why it was. I feel like I know why it was repetitive, and I feel like that's going to get alleviated in this. But this is also the same thing as me saying, oh my god, Borderlands 2 is so imbalanced. I'm never playing Borderlands 3. And then you're like, they said they're going to fix the balancing. I'm like, I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not playing it. I feel like we've flipped on that.
Yep. You had mentioned there's another game coming out in like a month or two that you're like, I'm now relieved. Oh, Death Stranding. You're like, I'm now relieved that I don't have to play Death Stranding. I kind of feel the same way now about Doom Eternal. I'm like, oh, thank God, that's one game I can wait on.
I mean, I think we're going to have to pick some games to wait on. There's just too much.
Too much good
especially
shit.
now that I'm interested especially now that I'm into Dragon Quest 11, which is like a 60-hour game that I'm going to be playing just after Link's Awakening. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I loved this. I also played Doom 3 by like half of it, and it's actually really amazing how much different Doom 3 is. You have to reload your weapons. It's not as fast-paced. Even though sometimes you can move pretty fast, it doesn't have that same consistent like urgency. Like sometimes you want to duck behind cover to give yourself a moment before you go in and shoot some demons. At least that's how I played to Doom 3. And also, but it has the same thing with the environments where you're basically in a station, and then you'll go to the surface of Mars sometimes to get to another portion of the station. At least in the parts that I was playing at. But you had like, you could worry about oxygen and things like that. You don't have to worry about in Doom. It had like a much more survival horror mechanic.
Yep. As
much as Doom can get, at least. That I totally get why they're like, yeah, we can't do that again. We got to go back to what people want in Doom. And I'm kind of glad they did, because I definitely like Doom 2016 more than Doom 3. But Doom 3 is highly enjoyable, has a much more interesting story throughout. There's actual NPCs that you're legitimately meeting and talking to, as opposed to, it's basically audio logs.
This was basically Olivia and Sam occasionally would pop up.
Yeah. But I think that worked in this game because it was all about the point of this game is the momentum of the action.
Yeah.
That's it. Without that this game wouldn't be what it is. And they nailed it. And I think speaking of nailing it, you also nailed it with the enemy types too. This has some of the best diversity of enemy types I've really seen in a game. There's not really a standard like there are some standard like, hey, this is a shielded enemy, but that's just not that common. Like the enemies are really diverse and very unique to Doom.
The shielded enemy was the one where I'm like, this feels out of place.
Yeah,
in this entire universe.
I think I just use my chainsaw whenever those things came up, because like it's just not worth trying to get around it.
What was your go-to weapon for most things?
Oh, definitely the shotgun. The shotgun.
What upgrade?
It was funny. Oh well, see, the thing is, I basically just went back to my initial campaign, and I could just play the levels individually on their own. Mm-hmm. So I'd start off each level and just have every single gun available to me. I didn't have to unlock any, and also it had all the perks I'd already invested. So I already had everything.
You fucking cheated.
No, it was way more fun doing it that way, actually. It was a blast. Like being in the opening level, being like, this guy's a total grunt, but I'm going to pull out the gas gun and just blow his head off. Yeah, definitely the shotgun still, though. And not even the double barrel shotgun. Straight up shotgun.
Yeah, I know. I never used the super shotgun.
Yeah, never. Mostly because if I really needed... If there was a moment where the super shotgun was going to be useful, I would just hold down the left trigger and do the triple shot with my shotgun, which effectively does the same. Actually does more damage, I think.
I was shotgun for things like imps, and then my upgrade that I had on the left trigger was the grenade launcher thing. And I use that a ton for all the other like slightly stronger enemies. And then I love that Gauss cannon. That Gauss cannon and the rocket launcher with the lock-on. Those were my two go-tos.
Yep. Yeah, when it came to the guys with the big bellies, then I definitely used the rocket launcher on. But the witches, the ones who would like teleport around all the place,
Yeah.
Gauss gun all the way.
Really?
It's like two hits of the Gauss gun.
Oh
done.
no, man! I was just like, they're jumping all over the place. I'm like, fuck it, I'll let my rocket launcher lock them, and I don't even have to point it in the right direction.
Oh, no, I was usually pretty close to them anyway, so I thought that was easier to dodge their attacks. So I was close to them, at least in certain maps. Yeah. Did you play the multiplayer with us, or did you? Just
I
watch
watched you guys via share play.
Yeah,
and it looked fine.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think you really have to like Quake style arena online shooters,
and there has to be a lot of participation. It was just you and
yeah,
Alex.
it's also. Well, we did one match. Where was Alex and I? Yeah, no, so at a certain point, Alex and I decided we were just going to do quick matches on our own and see if we can get teamed up with each other. Yeah, I think we ended up doing that because there were so few people on the servers. But here's the thing: is that those people are so goddamn good at the game, and there's no recharging health at all. So it really just made it so I would just die immediately, usually, and it wasn't like that fun. Where I think that might be saying that because of the time I was coming off of Titanfall 2, which is really good at keeping players in the game if you're not that good at a first-person shooter by having like kind of grunt enemies for you to fight. And this has none of that. It's purely players who are way more skilled than you, if you're holding the part at least. And that wasn't enjoyable for me because I'm a sore loser baby when it comes
big baby.
I'm a baby. So, yeah, I wasn't a fan of the multiplayer, but I kind of feel like Doom's, at least for me, is more of a single-player experience anyway. But I do kind of wish there was a co-op. Is there? I don't think there's a co-op.
No.
I think that'd be kind of sick.
I don't know. I feel like that'd be weird.
Increase the number of demons and then just do co-op. It sounds like it'd be awesome.
Just do coop. Just fly the chicken coop, bruh.
They have to do like a Doom Youngbloods and like do a co-op version of it.
I don't know. Wolfenstein Youngbloods did not get great reviews. I was so disappointed. I didn't play it because it got bad reviews, but
well, I'm still gonna get that and play it with you as long as you make it to Mr. Robot Season 3.
We'll see.
Spoiler alert: it does not sound like Chad's liking Mr. Robot.
We'll see.
Do you have any additional thoughts, Chad?
Nope. That's it. I do have
it?
3 additional thoughts. 1, next month, the month of Septiembre. That's Spanish for September. We are playing...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember I'm multilingual. We are playing Nier Automata.
Selectively multilingual.
Nier Automata is our
Only
game.
some words.
It is obviously not multiplayer, so we're not going to be playing it together. But if you are playing along with us, our goal is to at least just get playthrough A done. And then extra credit that we're all striving for is to get all the way through playthrough E. We're going to try hard because there's a lot of games coming out in September. Number 2.
Oh, yeah.
If you would like to influence how we pick our games, go ahead and go over to patreon.com/respawnnameFire. And for just $1, you can vote on what we play each month, in addition to other fun perks. Also, Alta, Alto, Balto, Ultron, Olequan. You know that last one I realized is a coworker, and I'm just shouting out his name.
But I
every
say,
time.
what's that a reference to? Probably something I don't know about, and it
yeah.
was.
Michelle Kwan. There we go. Great. I totally forgot what I was going to... Oh, yeah. Bits of Barf. Bits of Barf. So let us know if we're going to do like little tiny games and like several of them in a month. Let us know what little games you want us to play. Like 3 to 4 hours each, maybe one we can accomplish in a week. Do it.
I put up on that list already Minute as well as Paper Please. I don't know if you got my text message, but
I got your text message and it's already been on my list. So your mom.
Oh, it has. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can check out my future barf lists on GG app. I'm at Chad Mike Innes.
Ooh, and I'm at Holden DePardo.
And we're at Respawn Aim Fire. And that's it for our side quest. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. Here's our usual sign off. EA Sports. Give us your money.